Hey guys, welcome back to Idaho Fabricator. I'm Steven, and in today's video we're going to talk about transmission oil coolers. And I just happen to have a transmission oil cooler made out of cardboard here. And what I did was I went online and I kind of knew dimensions that were going to work for me for this application on the truck. And so I got their measurements off their website, made a cardboard template, and this particular one was going to work the best. But when we're talking about tranny coolers, obviously you can mount them up in front. And I thought about that. If I put the air conditioning condenser up here, which it would go up here, and then the tranny cooler in front of that or off to the side here, running the lines I thought would be kind of problematic, getting around the exhaust and making my way up to the transmission. So I decided against mounting it up front. And I thought, well, okay, let's do a remote cooler. Now, when you do a remote cooler, you got a bunch of options. You can just do the simple, what they call tube and fin type cooler, which works. You can also do this one that's called a heat sink. I don't have a picture of it, but it's aluminum and they vary in size, and they're just round, and the oil goes in the end, goes through and comes out the same end. And they work like a big giant heat sink. The problem with those, in my opinion, is you have no way of controlling the temperature. It just removes whatever heat it can remove, and unless you have a temperature gauge on it, and you're willing to buy different size coolers, those heat sink ones, you're never going to know if you're keeping the temperature right. So I decided to go with this cooler. Let me show you. This one's made by Flex-A-lite. Oops, dropped a screw. This one's made by Flex-A-lite, and it has the fan mounted to it. You've got the two fittings here, and I went with, let me unscrew this for you so you can see what's called -6 AN fittings. So I'm going to run -6 hose up to the transmission rather than using a barbed fitting and hose clamps and all that. I figured this looks a little cleaner and nicer, so that's what that is. But you can get this cooler with a barbed fitting if you want, okay? And then back here on this cooler is another part that I like, and it's a thermostat, okay? And then I'll wire this up when I wire everything up, and when the thermostat reaches, I think it's 180 degrees, the fan will come on. And then when the temperature gets down 165 or so, the fan will go off. So that way I can maintain the transmission temperature. The other cool thing about this cooler, and I didn't know this until I started researching it, but if you'll notice, this is called a stacked plate cooler. So each one of these ribs here are two pieces stuck together, and in between those are a bunch of little dimples, and they cause the fluid to move around and mix, and they do a much better job of taking the heat away from the transmission, from having it cool better. So rather than a traditional tube and fin, when you've seen those where the tube just kind of goes around and then it's just loaded with fins, this is called a stacked plate. I think this is the way to go for coolers, and I'm glad I learned about that. I hope that this helps you guys. Another thing about this cooler, which is pretty cool, is you can choose. See how close I came on this? Not bad. It's not perfect, but not bad. You can choose what direction it goes. So what I do is I just take a 9-volt battery here, and if I put the red one on the positive and the black one, I have this is designed to pull right now. But if for whatever reason I wanted to push the air, I could just switch these leads and the fan would push air through the cooler. But I am going to pull the air through the cooler, and I'll show you why in a minute. Let me show you the bracket I came up with. This is the bracket I came up with. It's pretty simple. It's just two angles here, okay? And then 3/16 plate back here, drilled. and another one up on front. And the way the cooler sits on here, I'll move this stuff out of the way, and I'll show you. It's going to sit on here like that. Okay, and I've got four of these 3/8 spacers. And the reason for these is just to raise this cooler up enough so I can get a fitting on and it won't hit the cross member. And I'll show you here in a minute. So it would sit on there like that. And it's pretty well protected. And like I was telling you, I'm going to pull the air through this. And let me show you where this is going to go under the truck. So here's where it's going to go. Back here on this cross member. And I got 3 of the holes drilled, but it's going to go here. And then the cooler is going to set on top. And how I decided on this spot was while I was waiting for my cooler to get in, I took my cardboard template. And let me take my exhaust simulator down. I took my cardboard template and then I just played around under here. I thought, well, maybe I could put it here. Or I thought about maybe under here and then run the lines up over the top and over to the transmission. Nah, I didn't really like that. And I figured if I put it here, you know, like put a bracket on the frame rail here, the bracket would interfere with the fuel lines that are coming through here. Then I'd have to figure something out there. So I decided the best place would be back here, pointing toward the transmission. And I think it's going to work out really good. So let me show you how I drilled those holes. Because it's pretty cool. Try not to hit my head. Man, I banged my head so many times on this thing. I should wear a helmet, you know. I got these tools here. Let me show you this because I really am excited about this. It's made by Big Gator Tools. It's a V drill guide. And you can find these on Amazon. This one's the big one. This one goes from 1/2 inch to 3/8. And then the smaller one goes from 3/8 all the way down to 1/16. It's nice as it has this channel on the bottom and it also has these center lines for each hole. So if you were drilling something round and you wanted it centered, you could clamp it on and then run your drill in and it would be, you know, centered on the tubing that you're drilling. So really a handy tool, but I'm going to use it in a little different way. So here's what I got going on. So I decided to tap these holes 5/16 18. And let me get my handy dandy flashlight here because this might be hard to read, but you can see there it says 5/16 18. And then right underneath it, see where it says F? I hope you can see that. Anyway, most taps tell you what size drill bit to use to tap the hole. I'll jockey this around. Okay, so now type F. So that means I needed a type F drill. So if you can, I don't know if you can see it, but this is a type F drill. It's a letter drill. So I'm going to put that in here, tighten that up, and then the trick is, okay, this drill fits really good in this hole right here, which is 17/64. Okay, so then I went over and got my alignment punches, and I found one that fits 17/64. Okay, so I did want to mention something else. You're probably noticing this blue stuff on here. Okay, it's called Dykem. Blue layout. Now you don't have to get this brand. This is just the brand that I've had. And I'll tell you what, I've had this for like 15 years. It lasts forever. So, but what I do is I spray it on there and then, I don't know if you can see the mark where it's crosshatched, but it allows you to mark on the metal where you're going to make your layout. And it just makes it easier to see. It's hard to see scratches in the steel when it's just bare steel. So that layout stuff is pretty cool. So I'm going to take this here and take this point, and I'm going to put it in the center punch. Okay, and just kind of hold it there for, well, I need 3 hands. That's what I need. Let me get my pliers in my hand so I'm ready to rock and roll. So I'll put it in the hole. Slide this up. Just kind of double check because I have made mistakes before. See, like that, I just made a mistake. There it's in. Okay, now I'm going to take this light and I'm going to block the camera and peek in here. Just make sure that I'm centered, and I'm centered. Okay, then just so that it doesn't move, I'm going to put another clamp on it. Let's see, right about there, I think. Okay, now we're going to drill this hole. Oops, see, I just hit my head again. Dang it! Man, that hurts. So I'm going to put a little goo on the drill. I'm going to go in the hole. Drill a hole. Now I'll take these off. And there is a nicely drilled hole. Then take a deburring tool. This is just one of my favorites here, and just kind of clean the edge up a little bit. It helps the tap go in better. Now I'm going to continue to use this drill guide, but here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my tap and I'm going to find the hole that fits it really good. Looks like that one does. 21/64. Okay. So same thing as I did before. I'm going to put some cutting fluid on here. And then I'm going to hold the tap in the hole. Slide this gauge up, clamp it, and then I'm going to clamp it again just so that it doesn't move. And then we're going to go ahead and tap the hole. This way, I know the hole is going to be perfectly straight with the frame. It's really hard to you know, usually like when you're tapping this stuff, you're like eyeballing it this way, and then you get underneath and eyeballing it this way, and this little tool really takes the frustration out of it. They're not very expensive, and they're really handy. So back and forth, so you clean the chips out of the threads. I think I'm in. I think I'm good. Let me go ahead and take this out. Okay. Take the clamps off. Take a little air and blow the junk out. And then, before we mount it, let's clean off this dicum. So just a little brake clean, and it wipes right off. Super handy stuff. And let's see how we're doing on a little more deburring, I think. Just, that feels good. All right, now we'll mount this on and I'll show you how it's going to look. so get some washers all set up here. It's pretty exciting, you know, getting this part done. This truck's starting to look like a NASCAR truck. Just not as fast as they are. All right, so get that one started. That one started. That one. And now, if we did everything the way we're supposed to, this one should start. Oh, look at there. Oh, perfect. Now, tighten these up. Love these ratcheting wrenches. Wish I was the guy that invented them. Okay. Man, that's solid. Nice. I like it. All right, let's put this cooler on and I'll show you what it's going to look like. Yeah, I guess I don't need to get my spacers here. I know I'm going to hit my head again. All right, so I'll put these on. This raises that hose fitting up just enough to clear. Okay, and then this is going to go like this. So that's what it's going to look like, guys. Pretty sweet, huh? And if you come around this side, you can see that. Oops, let me get this light out of the camera, so it'll make it hard. You can see. I hope you can see the spacers. Get the fittings up at a nice height so they clear the cross member. Makes it easier to fit it in place. I think that's going to look sweet. It's going to be awesome. And it's plenty far enough because I'm doing the, just get my exhaust pipe in here, kind of where it's going to be. So because I'm going to push air through it, this fan's going to pull air, I'm going to push the hot air that might be around this exhaust away. And I think it's going to work out fine. It's plenty far enough away from the exhaust, so I don't think there'll be an issue there. And then I've got my simulated cardboard muffler. So yeah, I think it's going to be sweet. So there you have it, guys. My remote transmission cooler with thermostat. And I hope this gives you guys some ideas on where you can mount your remote transmission cooler. It doesn't always have to go in front of the radiator. So anyway, as usual, it's been fun on the shop with you guys. And be sure to stay safe out there. You know, if it feels sketchy, probably is sketchy. And right now, with this coronavirus going around, you know, I'm kind of just staying here and spending more time in the shop, just avoiding the crowd. So I think that's a smart thing to do. Anyway, stay safe, guys, and I will see you next time at Idaho Fabricator.